Hey guys, it's Miss Tarleton here with the language lesson. Today we're going to be talking about diagramming simple subjects and verbs. Before we do that, let's just review our two parts of speech that we'll be looking at today. So we have nouns, which are person, place, thing, or idea, and our subject is always going to be a noun. And then a verb. And as our parts of speech poster tells us, a verb is a word that shows action or links the subject to a word or phrase that tells us more about the subject. So we're going to be talking about subjects, which are nouns, and verbs. And verbs can be state of being verbs, helping verbs, and action verbs, of course. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to sing a little song to help us with our helping verbs. I'll hold the poster and sing too. So this is called the Helping Verbs song, and it's sung to the tune of Jingle Bells. Helping verbs, there are 23. Am, is, are, was, and were, being, been, and be. Have, has, had, do, does, did, shall, should, will, and would. There are 5 more helping verbs, may, might, must, can, could. All right, so those are our helping verbs. And notice we sang the state of being verbs as well as the helping verbs. And again, that's just to the tune of Jingle Bells. So those are our verbs. And we're looking at diagramming simple subjects and verbs. And so we need to know what our subject is and what our verb is. And we've talked about in previous lessons, we want to make sure we look for the verb first. It's the easiest to spot in the sentence. And then we ask ourselves, who is doing that? Who is running? Who is jumping? Who can help move boxes? You want to ask yourself that question. And it should read like a mini sentence. So we're following along in our blue box on page 146 on diagramming. And it's quite simple. I went ahead and drew the horizontal lines already, so we skipped step number 1. So let's take a look at these sentences here on my board. And again, if it's flip-flopped, you can follow along on page 146 in your blue box. My mom can bake delicious pies. Well, that's easy. We can see that our verbs are can bake. So we're going to write our verbs off to the right here. Can bake. That's step number 2, to write them off to the right. Step number 3, draw a vertical line separating your verb from your subject. All right, now we ask ourselves, who can bake? Well, that's easy. Mom can bake. Look at that. You've diagrammed a sentence. All right, let's take a look at the next one. A happy bird chirped from the fence. Well, I see my verb right there is chirped, so I'm going to write it to the right-hand side on my horizontal line. Again, we did step 1 ahead of time and drew the horizontal line. Now we want to put a vertical line in front of our verb, chirped, and ask ourselves, who chirped? And you might want to say happy bird. You're right, the bird is happy, but happy is what we call an adjective, which describes my noun. We're going to go with our simple subject of bird. Bird chirped. And again, it makes sense. Bird chirped. Mom can bake. Third sentence here. Sing unto the Lord a new song. All right, so we see that our verb is sing. And you're like, but wait a minute, who sings? Who's being spoken to here? Remember, an imperative sentence, the subject in an imperative sentence is always you. So we're going to put over here in our, on the subject side, you. And because it's not actually in our sentence, we're going to put it in parentheses. So you'll see a couple of imperatives like this on today's lesson, and we're going to do a few of these together. Hang tight while I switch my board over. Okay, so looking at Think A on page 146, we want to underline our verbs 2 times and our subject 1 time, and then diagram them following the process we just went over from our blue box. So number 1, the dead leaves fall. Well, I'm looking for what is my verb. My verb is fall. And so what falls? Leaves. So I write my verb off to the right, fall, put a vertical line in front of it, and I put my subject, leaves, to the left of it. Leaves fall. All right, number 2, an angry wind rattles the windows. An angry wind rattles the windows. Well, I see an action verb here, rattles. And we draw our vertical line, and the wind is what rattles. Wind rattles. And again, I have those mini sentences. They make sense. Number 3, this store has a sale on shirts. This store has a sale on shirts. Well, I see right there, has is my verb. Draw my vertical line. And what has? The store has. Okay, number 4, our guests arrived early. Our guests arrived early. So arrived is my verb. And guests goes here on the left-hand side of my subject section. And lastly, on number 5, the happy children leaped for joy. Leaped is my verb, so I write it off here to the right, and then I draw a vertical line. And who leaped? Children. Children leaped. So again, those are simple sentence diagrams from Think A on page 146. Let's go ahead and let's look at page 147, Think B, just a few from there. All right, page 147, Think B. We've got those sentences behind me. Let's move this a little closer. There we go. All right, and we're underlining our subject 1 time and our verbs 2 times. Look for the verbs first. All right, the boy ran home. Ran. And who ran? Boy. So I'm going to write ran off to the right, draw a vertical line, and I write my subject boy to the left of that line. Okay, and for number 2 on Think B. My mother is baking some bread. So is baking is my verb phrase. I'm going to write that to the right here. Is baking. Draw a vertical line. And who is baking? Mother is baking. Awesome. Mini sentences again. Number 3, we saw 5 airplanes. We saw 5 airplanes. My verb is saw. It's the past tense of see. Draw my vertical line. And who saw? We saw. We saw 5 airplanes. Number 4, my friend waved at me. My friend waved at me. Waved is my verb. So that goes to the right of my, on my horizontal line. I draw a vertical line to separate my verb from my subject, and I ask who waved? Friend. Friend waved. Again, you might want to say my friend, but that's extra information that we don't actually need right now. We just need to know that friend waved. And number 5, the lonely little boy cried for his mother. It's a long sentence. The lonely little boy cried for his mother. Well, I see a verb right here, cried, past tense of cry, cried, and we want to ask ourselves who cried. Simple subject, boy cried. I know he's lonely and he's little, but I just want to know boy cried. So again, that's a quick overview on diagramming simple subjects and verbs in our language book. And if you need to pause, rewind, play anything again, please feel free. All right, 4th grade, this is Miss T signing off for now. Bye!